Happy Easter, Curt.
Easter. How are you?
I'm all right. All
I'm
right.
sorry. I'm sorry I was late, but I had to get rid of the bunny.
That's right.
You know the problem with bunnies?
Pardon me?
You know the problem with bunnies?
What's that?
They leave wet spots.
Yeah, terrible. Ah,
You look a little tired.
I'm a little tired. I went riding horses yesterday, and it's amazing how much it doesn't seem like you're doing much. You're just sitting up there, but it's a lot of work.
Yeah, it's a lot of work up there.
Horse was funny because I wanted to go. There were three of us, and I wanted the horse to go on to separate off and go walk up this little trail. And the horse flat refused. I'm like, okay, I'm not going to fight about it. Just fascinating. It's like, we're not going over there. No. Okay.
Yeah. I don't
That was
know.
at the end of the ride. So I wasn't up for much more fighting. I was
Right.
struggling.
Right. And sometimes the horse knows you need to go home. I mean, they can tell you're tired. It's amazing how perceptive they are, really. We are all busy in our minds, but
They're not.
they're busy in their feelings. So they're interesting. But every once in a while I miss my horse, but I don't miss I don't miss I don't miss the guilt of not spending enough time with them. Does that make
Mm,
sense?
yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I don't miss that. Um uh there like there's like many things that are rituals that are really comforting, like taking care of a horse, right? Where we cape it, the girls muck out the stalls and stuff, so it's none of that stuff. But it's just kind of nice to take care of their hooves, right? Put the socks on their legs, brush them down, give them some bits of apple, get them to cuddle you a little bit so they feel like you love them and they like you back, right? Right. My horse would come to me. I just go whistle for him and say "Bo," and he'd come. Right. He's a great guy. But they are. It's just you've got to. It's like some of us are meant to have cats. That's about the most maintenance we can handle, right? And some of them you want like a little dog. Some want a medium-sized dog, and some you want a big dog, and then after that, it's kind of like the horse thing, right? Because you get it.
Really big dog.
That's a really big dog that's really skittish and steps on you and it hurts. It's one of those
It's
things.
true.
So, um, I do miss the riding culture because the women in that culture are mentally stable. Or
Hmm.
the kind of women in that culture are stable. Or if they're not, it's directed where it should be, like to the animals, right? Or to their kids or whatever, but it's not, it has a place to go, which is the problem for women, right? They have that energy and it has to go somewhere.
Properly grounded, right?
Yes. Well, that's the thing. It's like we think of it as like you're a young male, and right, and you've got the tea flowing through you, and there's just things you just feel you need to express, right? I mean,
Right.
right, and just watching women is or chasing them, whatever, is just one of those urges, right? But women have the same urge. It's just a different. It's just more emotional, manipulative, interactive, right? Attention getting. So it's more consuming than projecting. So
Right.
uh so it's just like they need to put that somewhere. And they're like the horse, right? The more wrapped up in their emotions they are, the more they need to put it somewhere. Like the guy's talking about, well, intelligence compensates for a whole lot of things, right? I mean, it compensates for intelligence can compensate for a whole lot of personality or emotional variables that are questionable, right? You can discipline yourself into it because for some degree, intelligence does give you agency over your same thing, really. So the problem here is that, you get these women and they just have nowhere to put the energy, but you find these women in the horse community, they have a place to put their energy. Right. And it manifests in a lot of really beneficial ways. Like they're not always looking for your approval. Right. They're not looking for approval. They have a community, right, which binds them together. They have something to care for. Right. And they have a way to compete that's, or to compete, which is basically maintaining a connection with this animal, right? That is different from how men would historically connect to the animal, right? More like command versus empathize, right? So it's just a great community to be with. I can't say the other things in public because there's some other reasons why women who ride horses are better, but I can't say that here because that would be inappropriate. But they're way better.
The community standards being what they are.
Maintaining community standards.
It's decorum, Curt. It's
right,
good decorum.
Maintaining decorum. Well, we're just see if we could have we should have channel. They should put this stuff. Is it suitable for children? No. Is it suitable only for real men? Yes. Okay. Well, then we could check that.
Right, segregate it.
We could segregate it up so we could have real man channels.
Because the community standards will be different in different
communities. Well, community standards will allow us to be truthful.
I approve of this message.
It's unsuitable for children. It's unsuitable for women and betas.
Oh no.
It's suitable for adult men. Okay.
Well, there you have it.
Anyway, so
very good.
So I was worried that I would need some time to warm up today.
Yes.
But I think I might be okay. We'll see.
I think you're okay.
You're just being a doctor there.
I'm willing to put it in the chart. It's guaranteed. It's a legal document, man. I don't know. Potential has repercussions.
Oh, there's a great video. I like these couples. I like couples humor because it's couples who tease each other a lot, and that's how I get along with my relationships. I play a lot, right? So, and so there's this one couple, and she's coming back from she had a minor hernia during her first pregnancy, and so she's coming back from that surgery. And her husband's trying to feed her stuff, and she's doing the normal thing of coming out of anesthesia. I come out of the anesthesia and I flirt with the nurses, right? I mean, that's
right.
a fucking problem. And they laugh at me like crazy, right? I mean, they tell me afterwards because I don't remember, right? I mean,
right.
So she's coming out of the anesthesia and she's talking about how she forgot to thank the nurse, and she starts crying because she forgot to thank the nurse, right? And then she says, "Did you talk to the surgeon?" And he says, "Yeah." He said it went well, whatever. Did you get the feeling he was kind of a dick? Daryl, one of the optimum traits for surgeons is actually sociopathy.
That makes sense.
Doesn't that make sense?
It makes sense. It's like the guy's going to cut you, man. It's rough. It's like be careful. I send people over there. I go, be aware. He is going to cut you.
Cut you.
It's a chance.
I've had I had one guy who kind of screwed me up, but my first cancer guy. Turns out he was drugging himself.
Oh my.
I remember him coming into I had an early morning appointment. Not empathic, but I see patterns, right? And he walks up to me, looks at me, Checks his hands. I'm like, Coke or some,
Oh,
right? It's some opiate, right? He's checking himself for opiates. And he left the profession a year later,
mm,
completely disappeared. But anyway, he was a good guy to work with, right? I mean, but I went to the best guy in the country after him. Thankfully, he's in Seattle, right? And then he got me to the right surgeon, which took out the cancer way back into my skull here. And so I'm talking to this guy, and it's these people are all empathic. They're like you, right? They actually give a shit. You
mm.
can tell, right? I was like floored. And then you see some of these doctors, and it's like, do they just get numb? Is that what happens? You get numb?
I don't know.
Yeah, there must
I
be.
don't know. It's like I
It's
don't
like
know.
maybe it's an urban doctor thing.
It's an interesting function because it's like yeah, there's a disconnection, a non-connection, you know.
Mhm.
And is it like I just think they're misdirected. I don't know how else to describe it. It's just
Mhm.
like not properly affected,
Yeah.
right?
I would find that very hard. The I would find doing what you do very difficult. Partly because if I can't fix something, I can't.
It's very disturbing when you get these ones that are unfixable, that are not not following directions, or even if they're following directions and you can't fix the problem, it's like, and you're responsible for the controlling the crash. It's like,
Mhm.
oh my Lord, it's awful.
Yes. Anyway, my appreciation.
Thank you.
All right. Am I warmed up enough? We've been,
Stretched out your neurons a little bit.
you know. So this morning, I don't feel like I can start this. I bet I can. Okay. Boy, this is gonna be hard. I will do it because I have will,
I
and I have Brad to make me feel guilty when my will fails me.
Everybody has a purpose, I suppose.
Have I said I love you lately, man?
Yes, thank you. Look at that.
So Brad, but before we started recording, Brad was talking about Eliezer Shlomo Yudkowsky, who's a American writer on friendly artificial intelligence, and he's of course one of the, oh my God, the world's gonna end, the sky is falling, or whatever. This guy's not I mean, I guess he's a he's what's his education? AI safety. Oh, he's the founder of Less Wrong. Well, that makes sense.
What's that?
It's a website. And it gets a lot of smart people go there. They did Overcoming Bias, Less Wrong.
Hmm.
And so this is but it's not a program. I don't see anything in here. Research on AI safety. I think this is just writing about it. I'd have to find out. I'd have to do some more work.
He was the reason I brought that to your attention, just for the audience, is because Mr. Yudkowsky has he stated that we need to bomb AI training centers and limit the amount of memory or computing power being applied to AI solutions. He's radical anti-artificial intelligence guy.
The way you fix problems like nuclear weapons, which is if you're presuming AIs are in the category of nuclear weapons, You don't deprive yourself of the utility of nuclear power. You say, how do I manage this power correctly? It's like it will turn back. I mean, this has been stated about everything, right? I mean, remember there were Luddites breaking mills because they were putting baking looms,
Yes,
breaking looms, right? Because it was putting weavers.
in the Netherlands.
Yeah, so I mean, it's not, there are plenty of people like we should get rid of guns so we can go back to swords. Well, I mean,
I have to talk about this for a second. The loom destruction, which they were going to make it a capital crime, I think.
yes,
They call them Luddites because they were followers of the Ned Ludd.
yes.
Now, this is for the audience as the edification, because I find it so amusing, this little bits of trivia associated with this pivotal event, right? It's pivotal because it resonates through history. And
It's the canonical example of, right, and the canonical person. It's the person we use to say, you're going to fight a technology, right? But all that means is now you learn to do something else, right? Most of the time.
right,
The problem with this AI revolution is that for most of human history, for most of our industrial history, we were taking people from physical animal labor to machine labor, and then we're increasing productivity and decreasing costs by doing so, right? I mean, on the other hand, what we're doing now is like if it's it it's getting hard, we're replacing cognitive labor.
that's right,
And so where are we going to shift people to?
right.
Well, I mean, I have ideas about it, but I mean, in general, that's the confusion, is where are we going to shift people to? The other thing is that, if your AIs get good enough that they don't lie, then all of a sudden, all this ability to manage the public goes away. Does that make sense?
Yes,
Because, we talk about these machines as being not very smart today. They don't have really the ability to reason. They sound reasonable, but they don't have the ability to reason much. Which is a recursive function, right? It's every time you have to self-improve your own thoughts, right? It gets harder. And then there are some questions like, how do you get there? If it isn't known, it can't figure out a way to get there.
right.
You say, I want you to get here, and it can't figure out. So there's a problem with their reasoning and side of this thing. But that's different from saying, is there any one person you can ask all these fucking questions? And the answer is no. Right? So that's the thing that's pretty cool about these AIs, is there's nothing you can't ask them. Well, nothing that they're willing to answer you can't ask them. And so these people are so at this point they're like a whole bunch of people who have lots of knowledge that isn't, but not a lot of understanding compared. They can recite. Right? It's like talking to people with good memories.
Right.
All right. But it's not terribly smart. But if it gets terribly smart, how does the government control you? It has to invent a machine that lies.
I have to go back to Ned Ludd again. I'm not done with him yet. For the audience, the way you destroy the loom is you throw your shoe in it. And in Holland, your shoe is made out of wood, and it's called a sabot, which is where the word sabotage comes from.
Yes, yes.
And it's important for me to say that because now I've fulfilled that hanging neuronal loop. I'm happy now.
Well, it's also why the guys from Google are making a big right, as we need to slow down. Well, the reason they want to slow down is because they're behind. Right. And they're behind. What?
Say, what do you mean they're behind?
Well, they want time to catch up.
With that AI?
Yeah, they want time to the guys that are behind want time to catch up. And so they're behind for the reason I've explained earlier, is that we always thought you'd have to build this bottom up instead of top down.
Okay.
But it turns out that if you're willing to tolerate a lot of mistakes early on, like now, over time, it will get better and better and better and better faster than you can build something from the bottom up that doesn't make mistakes. So it's just been an interesting inversion of what we expected in the AI field. And so a lot of these people, are saying, slow down, I want to get control of this, when the right answer is, look at how fast people are controlling it. In other words, they're bothered by the fact that they themselves don't have control of an understanding of it, right? Because now there's so many people working on this. I mean, you literally can't keep up with it. I mean, I don't know if you know what the hug thing is, but there's a place where people push all these tools, right? It's insane. It's like the advent of the compiler. Think of it that way, right? I mean, we used to write programs by flipping switches and pressing store, right? We literally, right? So you'd write it down on paper and then you'd do that. Well, all of a sudden you've got memory, a keyboard, and compiler, right? You can actually, then it can just throw that stuff in there, automatically auto load it, right? And then we got tape storage and card storage and all sorts of crap, right? Card storage, tape storage. And so, you're at this point where there's like this critical mass of this textual interface that takes it from, I have to program everything into a compiler, from where I have to talk to an interface that does the programming for me. And moreover, because that's the case, it's our natural language. We can ask it questions in our natural language, and it can go out and discover answers in our natural language. It's just this beautiful linear growth. But this idea that you're actually going to be better off by studying the subject is just, all that means is whoever doesn't do that is going to be the winner.
Whoever doesn't
stall wins. Right. So it's like handing your technology to somebody else. Right. And this is like, why did the Americans develop the nuclear weapon? Well, it was fucking expensive. I mean, it costs a lot of money to do that back then.
Right.
Because it's really, I mean, making a nuclear weapon, it's not the weapon, it's the material.
Yes.
Right? Yes. Making that material is a freaking nightmare. It's like, what is it? What's the antibiotic we take? The first antibiotic? Penicillin. Well, somebody says it's mold. Okay, yeah, I know, but you know what the process of of producing that mold enough volume and processing it enough to get the chemical out, what we want out of it, so that you can actually use a single dose of it. It's an industrial process, right?
Right.
So the same here is that, we had people, if you think about how much money we spent on trying to develop AI since the 50s, right? When we started. I mean, it's ungodly amount of money, right? And we don't think of it as direct investment, because a lot of it's happened through indirect investment, right? I mean,
that's right.
It's just the whole computer thing. Yeah, but eventually all computation should be done by AI. You'd assume that we'd get to the point where the way we think about software today is meaningless, because the AIs can write the software better than we can. And God knows what it'll come up with, right? I mean, right now we have basically 3 models, right, of software. So Mathian function Z and simulation Z. And then the 4th model is AIE, right? It's Bayesian, and then we're going to get to recursively autonomous Bayesian, and that's sort of like, okay, now we've got people. The difference is that, holy shit, they can actually store the sum total of human knowledge in a fairly condensed space, and that's kind of terrifying. How did I get off on that rant there? Why did I get off on that rant? I don't know.
I wanted to talk about Mr. Yudkowsky.
Oh, okay. So anyway, I'm not part of the, there's enough people working on this from both the safety and the evolutionary standpoint, right? That the cowboys will figure out how to make it keep evolving, and the nurses will, which is the the little nannies, the nanny mannies, will keep worrying about alignment, and there's enough people working on it to make that happen. Except everybody wants to be the nannies want to be in control because they're afraid.
Hmm.
And some
They're the control freaks, the authoritarians.
yeah, and they keep talking about, well, this could happen, that could, but you have to let it. You don't. They have to have an agenda.
Oh yes, it's a rallying cry.
And who was I working? Who was I listening to? I remember falling asleep last night and getting pissed off because I fell asleep and I'm trying to argue with this guy in my dreams, and I don't wake up enough to realize that I'm actually arguing with this guy in my dreams, and it's a university situation, and
Oh
we're in
no.
this couches and talking and yelling, and I'm like, I can't convince this guy, and when I realize that he keeps over talking me and it keeps pissing me off, which in my dream, he keeps talking over. What's the fucking video of these guys talking? So, Jesus. So I feel like wake up feeling like a fucking moron again. But in what he's saying, he's making this, he's making the case that, that all these risks can happen, right? But and that he's correctly stating you'd have to give it all these agendas, but then he's getting to the point where there's no natural agenda. What are you talking about? It's acquisition. I mean, you and I could probably list, if we even if we spent 10 minutes on it, off the top of our heads, we could probably use first principles to say this is the spectrum of right criteria. Like, one of the things he didn't bring up was marginal difference. Like, humans could theoretically hoard hazelnuts like chipmunks, right? But the toxicity eventually kill us, right? So there's a thing of marginalism in any given acquisition, right?
Right.
So we have to have a portfolio, right? And our body tells us, well, don't eat any more.
You've had enough of those.
You've had enough of those, right? So you could come up with the list of things, which is basically marginal indifference of a satisfaction of a chemical necessity, right? Right. And so you got acquire, you got to have marginal indifference, right, of what you acquire, and you have cooperation so that it can assist you in acquiring, and that's it. I mean, that's it. So you just have to find all good is something that improves one of those things.
Right.
Right. And so it's just a compound on three freaking factors. Now, I mean, three categories of factors. We'd have to go back in there and say, okay, well, this manifests in the body as, I mean, I brought up the food one, which is obvious, right? The sex one is obvious. The cooperation one is obvious, right? These are all pretty obvious decision criteria. Well, if you give that to an AI, it's going to try to acquire as much as it can. So then you have to give it the opposite, which is reciprocity, proportionality, and property. Right? I mean, and then it's like, okay, well, I can't do this without violating reciprocity and proportionality. Property, reciprocity, and proportionality. I mean, it's just, there's three criteria for it to do, and three criteria for it not do, and there's your fucking decision criteria for an AI. Okay. Right? That's it. It's not rocket science to make an AI, because it's not rocket science to make a fucking animal.
No, not really.
It's just physics. My rate of expiration of X number of what?
It actually is like rocket science. It's just physics.
It's just physics. Okay.
It's just like rocket science. It's just physics.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay. All right. Well, we've talked about medicine. We've talked about AI. Talk about the feminine fear. We've talked about how to, if you gave an AI that decision, that's what it can just run forever. Right. So you'd have to flip it around. To make an immoral AI, you'd have to not give it those
categories. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Don't give it those three things, right? Don't increase capital. Don't, which is acquisition. Don't understand marginal difference, right? Across these different needs, right? I mean, you'd have to, it's just fucking stupid. You could just say one of those needs is to make fucking people happy. I mean, okay.
Right.
What is that?
It just, what does it categorize as gain, right? When it's acquiring, it's like, That would be useful. It's like you could seek the evolutionary velocity
Right.
and balance it with human emotional indifference to the costs associated with it.
Right. Okay. So it's not so much you're going to create an AI that's anything particularly difficult. You just need to give it the same morals that we need to have, and it'll be better than we are. So I'm just like, okay, this is not, I mean, now the only question is, can I add, can I make the weights for those moral decisions sufficient that they always override the others? Of course I can. In other words, no weights can violate this weight. You can do
Right.
that by trying to train them together, or you could try to train them adversarially, which is think whatever you can think of and then only let live whatever things are moral, right?
Right.
So it's like do them together, and in which case now it gets hard to figure them out, and then or then come to your conclusion and then recurse whether it's moral or not, and so what would happen, of course, is it's going to take a little longer to get the responses back.
That's right.
That's it. All right. So I talk about that. I don't know why you know why I'm talking about it really?
Why?
Because I'm going to be, I know I'm going to get overwhelmed working on what we're going to work on today. All right.
Okay.
All right. So let's get to work. You can say, Curt, crack the whip, Dr. Bryan.
All right.
All right. So we're looking at Constitution Article Man, right? And where is this? All right. What we have, Brad, is we have, where's this one? Let's pull this over there. And we're going to put this man. I have natural rights there. And I need one more. One more. What do you talk about? All right. So we have a problem. This is the most of the notes you and I took.
Okay.
Right. It's not all of them.
Right.
Right. But it's most of them. So what I want is of this. Oh, law. There's law. Do we pass? Is it all up here? It's this part first, right? That's the short version. How far does this go? Oh, So here's, does this work? Yes.
Hmm.
I'm looking for the I've got the wrong page. This is
What are
all
you searching for?
I'm looking for all the first principles.
Oh,
Law. It's come after here.
ooh,
Huh?
change font.
Yeah. So I didn't.
There we go.
There we go. So well, you'll wait on here. All right. Couple of problems. This. Let me see if I can find this and if I look for it. So 17 and 18. All right, so it's first principles. Then at the top here. This is basically a summary. Right?
Yeah.
So we've got a summary. Then we've got how the universe called evolutionary computation. Sorry, I knew I should have prepared for this. Am I gonna make you crazy?
We'll see.
I mean, crazier than you are now.
That's what I'm seeing. If I detect that transition, I will make you aware of it.
We're missing something. I'm trying to get together the pieces.
Mm-hmm.
The pieces that go into this document. And I thought I had them right here. And I don't. The physical laws. Introduction. Is that it? Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Forgive me for
Nope.
wasting time.
Not necessary.
So we want to have the result of nature, man, and whoops. Nature, man, and language. Somehow I got the wrong one. Oh, got it, language. So which is, if we look at the four laws, right? It's nature is the before and after, right? Evolution, nature and evolution. And this is the during, which is all the human stuff, cooperation stuff. And this is the language stuff, which is, makes sense?
Yes.
So what I want to be able to do is combine these, I assume, produce this outline. Could be wrong. Then go to this logic is part of language, right?
Yes.
But the rest of it isn't.
The rest of what isn't?
Well, this document is all where it starts, three states of cooperation. Right? But in other words, the first part of this, the turning of logic, this is in language, right?
Yes.
Logic and language, right? And then, but the three states of this, right? And this is all man, right? This is all about mankind.
Okay. Right. So it's, yes.
Right.
It was an after in there. Or yes. It's not language.
This is a different thing altogether.
Yes.
Right. And after this is the stuff you don't want me to talk about. This is all lying. There's a lot on lying here, Brad.
There's a lot of, it's very well embellished portion of human consciousness.
Now, can we just vote over to the religious for a minute?
Say that again.
Why the hell does God do this to us?
Say that again.
Why the hell has God put us in made us such fucking liars? This trust my Christianity. All right, so really there's not, this one is mostly man, except for the first part.
Right.
So it starts here. So we have a summary. We probably have to bring over the part on the physical world, which is right there. Where is the part on computation?
Hmm.
And this is law, truth, and law. Where is the part on evolutionary computation?
Look, search for it.
Yeah, you know. Yeah, I stuck it down in here. It's not there, right? So why can't I find this? It's not here. It's not here, right? What is the computation? All right, we're gonna have to break down the search.
Hmm.
I'm sure what I did is I renamed it and I forgot that I renamed it.
Hmm.
What?
Just noting the topics that passed by.
We've got this, right? We have that. Understand. I don't know. Look at this, right? This is. Reduction. It's not in here, right? I got that, and I got that. And so what's evolutionary computation? First principle. Interesting. Maybe. No, that's going to be another. There it is.
Okay.
This is too detailed though. Some of this is one of the best things I look for. That's cool. That's rock hard, rock solid. Rock hard is for penises and rock solid is for arguments. Is that how it goes?
See, don't be confused.
Just trying to throw you to keep you entertained and it's not working.
It's okay.
So need that.
So you save that over there in another tab. Okay.
We have usual noon pre-relog in, please. So we have ternary logic. We have the first principles, and we should have the outline.
Yep.
Yeah, that's the three, if I remember correctly. Okay. Now, Start out with easy question. You woke up the Constitution. Article 1 is nature, the laws of nature. What we're trying to get across here is evolution and competition.
Yes.
All right, that's what we want to get across. What we want to get here is this. Oh, this one looks pretty good. We have to edit this, audit this one, make sure we hit everything. Yeah, that's the whole thing. Okay, so man isn't a problem. And language is easy because it's already there. So this is the hard one.
Article 1.
Article 1.
That's the hard one.
That's the hard one. This is evolutionary competition. So this is what I meant to. I want to create. In other words, tell people what you're going to tell them.
Right.
Right. And so I feel like there has to be a summary. Where does that summary go? Does that summary go here? Does that summary go all right. In other words, you walk into this thing, you get the declaration, the act, the preamble, and then you get nature, man, language, natural law, rule of law. So my instinct is to put the summary here in nature.
Which is okay. What is to be summarized?
Nature, man, and language.
Right.
Oh,
so it should go before nature then.
Is it?
Because the summary is to include nature, man, and language. Is that correct?
I don't know if it includes one. I don't have language in here. It should be in here.
That is a funny function.
Is it summary?
There's it goes to but between item 5 and item cooperation requires reciprocity. Okay. But man divides labor means man must be able to talk.
Yes. Well,
man articulates.
Requires cooperation. Reciprocity. It's in here somewhere.
Yeah.
Right. So we put it all together and we put it up here. In other words, I'm just asking, do we tell people we're going to tell them and tell them, or do we start out with these are the laws of nature and then we explain how they unite? It's in other words, it seems to me that this is that we want to have it up front.
So
I could be wrong.
I know. So it's like the premise that I'm just going to parrot what I hear you saying so that you can determine whether or not it's actually correct. You're going to put language inside that blue section.
Yeah.
in some form. And you want to tell the people what they're going to get. That text that the body follows, the summary.
Yes.
And it's going to include the laws of nature, man, and language.
Yeah.
So I would write, I would suggest a narrative before the laws of nature, which describes the function of the section, which contains those three elements.
So instead of three separate articles, we make one article with three separate sections. And that way we can.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. And then it's a summary for this article is presented in first place, and then section 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
Because they're united in that it's the full exposition is necessary to understand what comes next, which is article 2.
This would be section 1, article 1, section 1, article 1, section 1.
Yeah.
And then we just need a new,
What's that?
then we need an article 1, right?
Yes.
And we just need a new article 1.
Which will contain the summary.
Yep. So we need, where's the plus sign? Laws of nature. Constitution. Laws of nature. How do I do this? So I just click on it. Yes. It's got some formatting stuff here. Right? Constitution. Wait a minute, what's going on with one of you? Let me do it down here.
His space. Sorry, I was too slow.
What the hell? I gotta do each one fucking one.
Oh my.
All right, let's give me some space here. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna copy over.
Okay.
Can I tell you, do you mind if I tell you how much I appreciate you sitting here through doing this with me?
I appreciate that. I find it interesting. It's an amazing body of work. So it's like such a monumental task, right?
Yeah.
It's just getting oriented in the space from which you're working. It's just
Yes.
stunning. It's like, holy fuck, I'm lost in space. Now I'm going to go make some coffee. I will allow you to continue to do your work. I will be within earshot.
Can I tease you? You're an
Of
issue.
course.
You're a very good natured man.
Well, there's no way I can prevent you from teasing me. Like, my opinion on the subject has no weight at all. It's like, okay, carry on. It's all good, man.
You just ignore it and carry on and just carry on.
Yes, sir. I
It's
do.
like you're very good at being a master of not providing positive reinforcement to negative behavior.
That's correct. I learned it from my uncle, man, the psychiatrist. It's like this. It's like you just non-reactivity
Yeah.
is how you deal with the people. You just give them nothing. You don't know it. You're just you're doing it. The way you do psychology is different than the way he did it. He was doing psychiatry, but I will say Fertile Crescent way.
I see. Okay.
That was okay. That was what he had. That was the best technology they had at the time.
Sure.
So now what are we doing?
I'm just feeling really good about having just done that.
I thought that was pretty good. Like that was actually more work than it seems like necessary, but it was like just discovering the thing and getting it together. There you go. Hmm.
Is that logic?
Right.
There's the link. You understand.
What's that?
There's something going on here, which is a new feature I don't understand.
Oh,
Oh, it's saying what's, okay. It's allowing me to create one. I don't want to do that because then I'll just get more confused than I already am.
It creates the opportunity for mischief.
Jesus Christ, let me fucking highlight you. Thank you.
Hmm.
See
Oh,
what
this is
happens.
good. This is good. I see what you're doing.
Yeah, it can find it if I do that. That's good.
What?
You just wondering, I'm like, can it find it if I just type in that? And it can. So if I go this, and this, and I search for man, oh, that ought to be interesting. That's going to be a pain in the ass.
Why?
Well, because I bet the number of references is high.
Oh,
So we need Constitution man.
how come you didn't type Constitution? Oh,
So you have to be. Have to. With the old fashioned way.
it's interesting to watch you work.
Why is that?
It's how you're processing the information. It's the same as interesting watching you interrogate the teacher and administrator.
Interrogate.
It's just come
We were
on.
having a
We were just
conversation.
having a pleasant conversation. It was very amusing.
He
It was
didn't know he was
nice.
being interrogated.
He didn't know. It was just totally unwitting. That's the best way to get him. Oh my.
Let's just
You
confirm.
gave him an opportunity to look smart
I'm
in his.
sorry?
You gave him an opportunity to look smart in his mind.
Yes, which is what everybody wants.
That's right. That's right. It was nice. So I see what you're doing. See, I'm seeing how what the work it is that you're accomplishing and how it's working.
It's Sesame Street. Which one of the things belongs to me?
Right? What's amazing is how complex it is to
Yes.
make it function properly. And it looks like goddamn nothing when you're done. Just like that was easy. My ass.
It wasn't easy. I just hope I hope that we're right and that people will appreciate our work in the future.
I think they will. This is because it's like the contest in which we are engaged is for the world, winner take all.
Yes.
Do or die. That's what it takes to properly motivate the humans enough to make them do it.
I am so proud of this piece.
Yeah.
Mm. Question is, okay, is how much are we really willing to break some brain here? Because we might have to do some brain breaking here.
What are we gonna do?
We're gonna go through. We have to consolidate. This is too much,
Okay.
right? We don't need to get down into some of these.
Okay. This is too deep. Right?
Right, we don't need to talk about particles, waves.
No, it's the Constitution doesn't need to talk about that. That goes in the let's look at the overview of the body of work, the books. Because where it goes inside there somewhere, but not in the
Science
science, yes.
doesn't go. I mean, we need. We're largely concerned about declarations. We don't have to make arguments, we have to make definitions.
Okay.
It's too much.
What is it you're looking for now? Just to
I'm trying to say, okay, well, this is the outline.
yes.
For all, we have to clarify this. And maybe that's what we should focus on, but I'm trying to get my head around the composition first. And,
Right.
and and I like this summary, because really
Yes.
that's what you need to have, right?
That's right.
Right, we need to have, but in nature, we're trying to get across how does evolutionary computation occur at levels, I think.
Let's
Right.
discuss this for a moment.
Right.
Do you want to continue with your exposition on the structure of it,
No,
or
I bet you've already figured out where we got to go, and I think I intuit it. So go ahead.
it's like if in nature, in its most general sense, it doesn't need to talk about levels so much, because it's like if you, the key to understand is evolutionary computation, ternary logic. It's the way nature is constituted. It works at that with those premises at all levels. And it's unavoidable that it will, that you, whatever you discover will be at those levels, right? And adversarial competition, right? Yeah.
Right. I mean, that's the law, right?
That's all it is. And I don't know why you would refer them for details about those levels. Refer to the section on science. Refer to the book on science, right?
Well, except that I want to be able to put this out without doing that.
Oh,
Right. So in this, in the science, we have to explain and defend for people at that level.
yes.
In this thing, we've got to declare it.
Okay.
If just, in other words, this is in any legal document,
Yes.
you just need a set of definitions. So it's essentially these are essentially, if you look at the document, right?
Yes.
Right. If you look at this thing, what we're doing here with this section, right? These are natural. They're just definitions. They're not opinions.
Right.
You know, this is the law. These are laws of the nature, regardless of what we want.
But right, it's not based on preference.
It's not based on preference. How we administer the laws of nature in the court, the state, the governments, right, and all the institutions that we use to assist us in cooperation, from the individuals on up to the family, to the all the way to the government, which is organized top down instead of bottom up. These institutions, these frames are just those are preferences, although as far, I'm not sure any longer they're preferences. I don't think there's any other way to do it. Does that make sense?
I'm processing that.
There may within,
Wait, so I'm going to agree with that, that it's the only lawful way to do it is evident.
right.
But the issue is, it's to organize the human preferences within that frame is the purpose of the state.
Right. So you can come up with whatever policies you want, which are preferences, but there's no way to do so without violating the laws of nature other than this.
Well, you will pay costs.
Or, oh, excuse me, without paying the costs. So our whole thing is, sure, you can have whatever you want, but you just can't lie about what the costs are. So I'm feeling a little fat here. I gotta loosen my belt a second. Anyway, so so basically you have a bunch of given, right, in a document. So
Yes.
all this stuff is given,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's not an opinion, right? So, but however, once you begin here, therefore, the only way to do that is this,
Oh, before, during, after.
right? And then what you do with it is after is all the policies. So we don't have to, I mean, the science is for guys like us, right? We have,
Yep.
right? But for the majority of the people, they just need to understand that it's declared.
Yes.
In large parts of the Constitution, I explain the problem, and maybe that's what we should do here, is we should explain. Should. Explanation.
Ah, that's important. That's right. But wait, oh, okay, that's yes, yes.
We should probably state that as such definitions. There's something about what we just said should be in here.
It is kind of an interesting function that is the natural law dictates the form of government that must arise. As a deterministic function. It's quite interesting. Hmm.
Like that?
Yeah. Hmm.
What?
Just it's fascinating. It's just pondering
The weird logical consistency of it all?
yeah, it's just this weird, well, it's just it's deterministic functionality of it is just strange. No, it goes to in natural law is unavoidable and it's deterministic. It's like that's interesting. In the construct of human cooperation at scale, and government is a subset of that. And as government is the operating principles for civil interaction and martial interaction.
Mhm.
And it's like the only way to have civil interaction is through reciprocity.
Yes.
That's just interesting.
It's just interesting that it's all that simple, isn't it? The problem is, how do you make people trustworthy enough? Like you have to create critical mass of trustworthiness. Do I have to publish this or something? What is the state of this fucking thing?
Update.
Yeah, but I updated it, but I don't think what's the state of it? Public, it's published, right? It's public. So why is this thing telling me the opposite? Did I not? Let's keep refreshing. Okay, that's okay. Where in the Constitution do we state Constitution consists of this is all explanatory. Where does it say the scary thing that Brad likes to laugh at?
Uh-oh.
This is it. Forget how good this is. Really. We just have to go through our work wherever did we cover the law in here. We gotta make sure you move that over, make sure it's all the same, because each of these things has different precision degrees of precision in it.
Right.
All right, so the elites need to be here. Where's three means of coercion? That's it. Elites.
Hmm.
There's gotta be a thing of city states. States, empires, federations.
Hmm.
Or institutions. Civilizations. Civilizations. This comes first. You have to be able to afford them.
Say that again.
Well, you have to be able to afford these institutions and you need
Right.
a means to, right? So. It's the Anacharynita.
Say that again.
Well, I just want to stay on the Anacharynita.
Hmm.
Okay, so let's go to, where do we have this? No, this is all behavioral. This is. We need to get into that there. Get tired already, bro.
What's that?
Get tired already.
It's all right. We've accomplished some good objectives today, I think.
Feels like. We need to figure out what needs to come from. Is this way down here though, right? It's way down here. It's not like halfway down. Right. Right.
That's a very good summary. This treatment here is very good.
All right. I need to eat something because I'm fading. All right. Did we do okay for we only really worked for an hour and a half? Is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
I might be able I
Do this.
what
What are you gonna do?
it just I just really enjoy this part of the work. I'm really tired.
It's all right. It's interesting psychological operation, okay? It's taking a toll. It's hard work.
I didn't sleep well last night. I think that makes it
And that makes it even worse. The I'm satisfied with the amount of work we did.
okay.
I would like to have a discourse with you after you stop recording.
All right. Well, thank you for if you sat through this. Thank you for listening.
It was make sure you tag it as a working session.
Yes.
Now, do hit like and subscribe and all the little buttons, set notifications, and leave comments if you dare.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.